Welcome to Professional Insight, brought to you by Dementia Action Alliance. Our website is daanow.org. I'm Chuck McClatchy. I'm your host and living my life with dementia. I'd like to welcome Kim Mosley to our program. Kim is a licensed clinical social worker and nationally board certified health and wellness coach, and has additional training in career counseling, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia and mindfulness-based stress reduction. Kim has 35 years experience ranging from working in hospice and bereavement care, assisting older adults and their families in her role as a geriatric care manager, working with individuals in small groups and a private practice, and leading health and wellness retreats. She specializes in working with people to get unstuck and to regain joy and fulfillment in life in spite of any physical, mental, and emotional challenges. Having a passion for the outdoors, Kim spends part of her year guiding hiking trips with a woman's outdoor adventure company. Welcome, Kim.
Well, welcome. It's nice to be here, Chuck.
Let's get started. I'll ask you a couple of questions to explain how you work. It says, what is an integrated health coach, and how is it similar and dissimilar to a life coach?
Okay. Well, the way I like to think of it is that your health is your life, and your life is your health. So what is unique about integrative health coaching is that it truly looks at every aspect of your life, from your physical, mental, spiritual well-being, as well as things such as relationships, your career, all of these through the lens of health and wellness. There are, however, just slightly differences with, say, life coaching, which is strictly for personal and professional goals, whereas health coaching addresses lifestyle habits of clients by examining all areas of their health and conditions that may have been the result of poor habits or lack of integration in their lifestyles. Many sufferers of chronic disease and or pain are unaware of their own behaviors and how they lead to manifestations of poor health and getting back to a good baseline.
Okay. Your work centers on an instrument called the Wheel of Health. Describe this wheel and how you use it with your clients.
Yes, and I'd love for the listeners to, and if you have a way of making this Wheel of Health accessible, I think it's a wonderful visual that encompasses all areas of our life. So it's based on two important premises. One is that the human mind and body have essential capacities for self-repair that can be supported and enhanced by life choices, as well as appropriate therapies and medical interventions. And secondly, that optimal health is a journey. It's a process that requires frequent reassessing and rebalancing. So it's looking again at the whole person. It's also recognizes that it's a collaborative effort that as a coach, I am working to address where the client, what areas the client is interested in. and helping them by being accountable, by helping them understand maybe their what gets in the way of their successes, and setting realistic goals. So again, the looking at the wheel of health, it starts in the middle. If you could think of it as the hub of the wheel is you. And this is about everyone's journey, everyone's life experience. They bring all that. And that has to be taken into consideration. Where I work, I think somewhat uniquely, is that I do bring in my my clinical experience as a social worker, and that I look at, we often, I tell clients that if you could think of the you as a bucket that often has holes in it. And so we try to pour things into that bucket of self, whether it's around our work or around our relationships, or even around, say, gee, if I lost 10 pounds, I'd feel so much better about me. And when we pour that into the bucket of you, it can feel fulfilled for a while. But inevitably, the holes in the bucket, that drains out, and we end up feeling empty and lost, and a sense of unfulfillment. And so with clients, I often start with looking at that sense of you and patching the holes in the bucket, so to speak. And that often entails looking at issues around worthiness and addressing feelings of shame. So by doing that, then they're able to make traction with lifestyle changes that they want to make. And then looking at there's 7 areas of self-care. And if you'd like, I can kind of spend a moment describing each of those.
Sure.
Well, on the outside of the you is mindful awareness. And what that is just paying attention to the present moment without judging it in any way. There is the saying that stress occurs when we focus on the future, and regrets occur when we focus on the past. So the question often to ask is, we often experience events, but did we actually have the experience? And that is by so being able to kind of, it takes practice to pull ourselves back and be in the moment, and how that can benefit us physically as well as mentally. So then the 7 areas of self-care, and some are more self-explanatory than others. The first one is movement, exercise, and rest. And as you can imagine, those have a big impact on your health. Being able to get exercise, move your body. I talk about, exercise used to be called play when we were children. And now we often think of it as something arduous. So rest, not only getting adequate amount of sleep, but is the sleep restorative? The next category is nutrition. And nutrition has a huge impact on health and wellness. And more and more is being written about, food as medicine and the importance of that. The next category is personal and professional development. And what that means is just growing and developing in one's own abilities, talents, and interests. This includes both the being and the doing, and living in that balance. Physical environment. And what that looks like is our environment has an impact on our health, whether it's the homes that we live in, how much natural light we get. It's around clutter. It's about the amount of time we spend outdoors. What do our work environments, what do they look like? How much time we spend in a car every day. The next is relationships and communication. Again, there's a lot of research that demonstrates supportive relationships with family, friends, co-workers, and colleagues that are based on open, respectful communication can have a dramatic and beneficial effect on our health. So there's studies that talk about relationships being, healthy relationships being more important. They've compared it to longevity. Spirituality is the next category. And this is just the sense that there's something larger than ourselves. It may, but not necessarily include any religious affiliation. It can include areas such as nature or the arts. The last category is the mind-body connection. And this is just paying attention to the interconnectedness of the mind and the body and the effects that they have on each other. Some mind-body skills include breathing techniques, meditation, progressive muscle relaxation, guided imagery. They've all been shown to activate the body's automatic healing response and reduce the harmful effects of stress. So any questions about that?
No, a lot of it really made sense. You see clients diagnosed with dementia as well as caregivers. What difference has it made for those clients, and how can integrative health coaching benefit those listening?
Yes. First, in regards to working with clients with dementia, it's integrative health coaching can help with creating systems and strategies to be able to simplify in order to complete tasks. So it's how to make your environment work for you, as well as understanding and implementing the role of exercise and nutrition, and as well as stress management. There's also changes to the physical environment that are important for safety and to assist clients' memories. And then as a clinical social worker, I also help clients with dementia process their feelings that include feelings of loss and grief, frustration around what they're not able to do, their sense of identity that's been affected by the disease, as well as changes in the relationship. And then, what are the resources out there, helping them access those resources? So those are some of the ways in which working with a coach can help people living with dementia live successfully. And in a similar way, I would say with caregivers, it's beneficial on many levels, and primarily around their own self-care. Often caregivers have difficulty caring for themselves, making their health and wellness important. And so helping them set achievable goals around their own personal health, as well as dealing with the changes that are occurring in their lives as they, around the changes in relationships, dealing with the stress of being a caregiver. And the reality is that caregiving is often added on to a full plate of other responsibilities in life oftentimes, and how to make room for that without allowing other things that are important and necessary in life to be maintained.
Do you, when you treat your clients, when they're caregivers and patients, do you treat them separately, kind of individually, so that you get more, I think, more honest and realistic answers from both sides?
If I understand your question, you're asking, do I see clients, dementia clients, separately than the caregivers? Is that your question?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yes, I do. And I would not, I typically would not work with both the dementia client. I mean, in some situations I would, where I'm working with the client living with dementia and working with their caregiver. I'm often working with clients with dementia separate than any caregiver that may be involved. And vice versa, I may be working with a caregiver but not actually seeing the client with the loved one with dementia, if that makes sense.
Oh, it really does.
Mm-hmm.
How can somebody contact a licensed integrated health coach for those listening?
Yes, well, the gift of the internet, if you Google integrative health coaches, it will take you to different sites where these programs are offered. Integrative health coaching programs are offered. For example, I received my training at Duke through Duke Integrative Medicine. And on their website, they have listed integrative health coaches and where they're located. Most coaches will see clients virtually. So just as we're able to meet through the technology of Zoom or Skype, I see clients, so it's not limited to location. And then the other option is just to Google integrative health coach in the area in which you live.
That's awesome. I'd like to thank you, Kim, on behalf of DAA and Professional Insight for sharing all your important information. And we'd like to invite you back for a group discussion after viewing of the podcast at a later date.
Sure, I'd be happy to, Chuck.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We're living beyond dementia, connecting our lives to help us survive, so we live our time to the fullest we can.